Hey everyone, remember those new hopper cars I picked up off of eBay? Well, today we weathered them up so they look like they've been in service for years, hauling gravel. My process starts with a satin varnish. This takes the new plastic car look off the models. Here we get to see all 6 cars already looking less toy-like with just a satin varnish. The process we're going to use today is called dot filtering. Because these cars are going to feed my main industry, the Sly Gravel Company, the primary colors I'm going to use are titanium white, flesh yellow, and yellow ochre. And I put these paints out on some scrap cardboard for a while. This will help draw out some of the excess oil out of the paints and leave us just those pigments. Here you can see why it's called dot filters, as we start with lots of little dots of paint applied with a fine synthetic brush. And once we get the dots applied over all 4 sides of the car, the fun starts. What we do now is we take a big soft brush and get it damp with some odorless thinner. And then we start pulling the brush down through the dots. I'm doing it this way because what I want is a simulated streaking of gravel, dust, and grime from rain on the car. You can also work this technique with small circles, but only if you really want to create a section or an area of higher level of color modulation or filter. I'm not going to use the circles. I'm just going to keep streaking everything down. And for the extra griminess, I'll get to that in a couple of steps. And now here you can see sometimes I want a little heavy-handed with the dots, but the beauty of oil paints is that you can always remove excess with just a little bit more thinner. Here are the results after a 2-day dry period, which helps us to have the thinner completely flash off and the paint starting to cure. On camera, I think they look pretty good, but in person, they're still a little too bright, plasticky red looking for me. So it's time to mix up some pastels. And I used a mix of light gray and white pastels to make a very light gray dust, which I mostly push around the inside of the car so that when the loads are not in the hoppers, that interior will look used as well. But I also put some on the outside just to continue that road dust look. For this last step in the process, I break out some weathering powders from Monroe models. They are a little pricey, but you don't need much, and they do self-adhere. What I do with them is I just tap a little bit onto the area I want to either have road grime or rust or dirt. And then if I put too much on, I just kind of shake it off. I don't use a brush. And that way, when I hit it with the soft brush, it'll just kind of smear in place. I keep the dirt tones to the trucks and lower parts of the car where it will be kicked up from the railway. And then I bring the rusty color to the sides, in places that I'd like to see just a little more wear and tear. And I don't do it on every car. And in here, you can see the difference the weathering powders have made between something that doesn't have much rust on it and something that has a bit of a rust spot. If you would like to take your out-of-the-box, brand shiny new rail car and make it look weathered in a realistic and professional-looking way, try dot filtering. You'll go from shiny plastic to realistic-looking in-service hopper cars in just a few short steps. Keep your eyes out for these cars in future on-the-track Thursdays or op sessions. Until next time, happy model railroading.